and Ngozi Talk Shows family. It's Nomsa here at Ngozi Talk Shows. It's late from within. With me today, I have Carol and
Can't hear you, Nomsa.
Pardon?
Yes, better
Can't
now.
hear you.
Yeah, better.
And Claudia Pastor. Can you guys
You're
hear
fading
me?
in and out.
Okay, how are you guys?
Good. I'm good.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, Carol Ann, yeah.
Good. Not sure what's going on.
No, it's a bit better now, the
Is
connection.
it better?
Yes. Carol Ann, on your end?
Not sure. Carol Ann, can you hear me clear?
I can now.
Yeah, better.
Okay, so our topic today is family dynamics, how children change your relationship. So having children is a transformative experience that can bring immense joy and fulfillment. However, it also introduces significant changes to couples.
I can't hear you, Nomsa.
Oh, can you hear me, Claudia?
Yeah, it's better now, but it was a bit silent previously, as Carol Ann said. It's true. It's a bit like, just come a bit closer, maybe.
Just went completely
Okay,
out and then
I'm
fades in
actually
and out.
close.
Yeah, it's true.
Can you hear it now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, do you guys want to take over, one of you? Carol Ann, you guys chose the topic. Would you like to explain to the audience what was the motivation behind the topic and it's all about children?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I'll do it. It's family dynamics, how children change your relationship. And it came about because just through having a conversation with Claudia, we were just texting and she was asking about us being on today and what the topic might be, and the fact that, because I said to her she got one in mind, and she said she had her partner's children this week because it was half term, and it just got me thinking that children come into your life in different ways and they have an impact on a relationship. So I just thought, let me pop that topic into ChatGPT, see what titles come up. And that was one that popped out at me. I thought, yeah, family dynamics. How do children change your relationship? Because it does change. And sometimes it's quite subtly, sometimes it can be, it expands it in some way, and there's more dynamic in terms of a positive way, but a lot of the time there's friction, there's things that happen that cause tension and stress. So I thought it might be a great idea to explore this, because all of us have got children in some way in our lives. And I know I've seen impact with other people's children in their lives. So that's where the topic came from. So Claudia, what were your thoughts when you saw it?
Yes, absolutely. It just so resonated because it was just my last week, how I spent. I mean, compared to you two, I'm not a mother, I'm a stepmother. So yes, so we do have my partner's kids. They do come around during the school holidays, and then they stay with us for like a week, 2 or 3, depending what it is as well. And yeah, as well for me, I had to grow into this role of being like the stepmother. And I did understand as well to begin with that even though sometimes there is a bit resistant to it, but I did understand as well that there is growth in these situations, in this family dynamics, because each family member has to find its role in this family, so that we all can be like in our, the role we play with, and then just like to do the best. Just like best to be together and to enjoy actually as well life together. And for me as well, something I understood too is it's about accepting as well, especially when you are not the mother of the kids. It's about accepting them as well, because the moment I realized I accept them, it made things more easy and more smooth as well, because it's just like beforehand not accepting someone or something there's always a bit like pushing against from the other party or person. But once you understand it's about accepting situations, people as well, things just relax naturally. And this is actually as well a new, how to say, platform where you can just like, just start again and reevaluate the situation. What about you, Nomsa? You are a mother, right?
Oh, yes. I
Yes, you
am my
are.
mother. I've got two girls. Yeah, having children, it changes everything. It's strengthen your bond, and it's just sharing that joy and responsibilities of parenting, and that creates a really deeper sense of a partnership and mutual respect. So yeah, is awesome. But sometimes having children, it can tear the relationship apart. Carol Ann, she's had older kids. I'm sure you've witnessed your friends who have had children. Sometimes the relationship can destroy children. Having children, it can destroy relationship because the reason why I'm saying that is parents, they stop making an effort or for themselves to having dates and stuff, and they end up neglecting each other and focusing on the children. And that it really helped me a lot when I read Paul McKenna's thing that it was when I did his program. So it helped me a lot. So I don't know. What do you think, Carol Ann? Does it just having children brings positivity, or do you agree that it brings negativity as well? It makes.
It's a mix, yeah. And there are joys there, absolute sheer joys and delight, and I, you know, I certainly don't regret in any way, shape, or form having children. It's what I wanted, and both my husband at the time and I did. And there is stress it brings, there is tension, and there's fear. I remember bringing Emma home from hospital. Even before I went home, I was frightened of going home because, as I said to my husband, I haven't got the buzzer to call the nurse if I need help. But as he said to me, he said, well, you've got a telephone. You can always ring someone. I went, oh, yeah, okay, I could, ring my mum or ring a friend or something. But there's that fear of, am I going to get it right? I don't know what I'm doing. But none of us know what we're doing. There is no manual. Because all children are different. And when I had my second daughter, it's different again. Even though you've had one, and people think, oh, you've already had a baby, you know what you're doing. Well, you do to a certain point, but subsequent children, they're all different. The way they are is different. The way they want feeding, the amount of food they want, and the period between feeds is different. I was concerned after my first one because she was feeding every few hours, and she'd take probably an hour to feed. And then a couple of hours later, she was wanting another feed. And it's like, but my second daughter is completely different. Quick feed, boom, she's asleep again for a few hours. you know. But it does bring in the stresses and their ups and downs, and it's being able to weather those ups and downs. And you're right, what Claudia was saying, it can destroy a relationship. I remember some friends of ours who they didn't actually want children, but they seemed to, I think they felt they got talked into it because everyone kept saying, when are you going to have children? When are you going to have children? So I think they felt it was something they ought to do, and they did. And it completely it destroyed their relationship, their marriage in the end. But although I think that the mother, she really values now the two boys that she had, but it did destroy relationship. So I think you have to look at reasons why you're having children, because it's not something that will always bring a relationship together. What do you think, Claudia?
Yeah, it's true. I hear this quite a lot that people think, okay, let's get a baby, like let's get the second child. Maybe this is going to, to fix us. But yeah, just that's not the thing, because obviously as well, the motivation and the reason is important. And ideally as well, you do want to do it for the good of the kids as well, because in the end as well, if there's something going on in your relationship already, a big gap or split as well, it's just like just another child is not going to repair that. It's going actually as well to be the opposite as well of it. So yeah, not a good reason. Communication is very important as well here, like in every part, like in our relationships, but as well here, so when things get a bit, hectic or stressful, like the communication as well. So, and there are like a few things how I like to do it. So when I get a bit wound up because of the stress and everything in that particular time, I take myself back and I self regulate myself as well, like however this looks for you, to go for a walk, to do some breath work, to do a meditation or so on. So I take myself out of this situation. And then as well, I relate to my partner, I afterwards, when I'm a bit calmer, I relate to him. I find a way as well to connect to him and to see how we are both experiencing this particular situation going on right now. And then I try to find with him the reason as well, like so that it's not going to happen again. So what can we do in regards to solution and to prevent it as well from happening the next time? So basically I'm saying communication is very important here. Nomsa.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with you, Claudia. Communication is very, very important when you have children. And also,
Can't hear you, Nomsa.
can you hear me, Claudia?
Yeah, you're very
You
silent.
keep going in and out.
Yes, in and
Oh,
out.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why am I in and out.
It's better now again.
Because my actually
It's better now again.
hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
My mic is just here.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I also agree with what Carol Ann said that her friend, they feel that they were pushed into having children. I think you should have children because you want to have children, or get married because you want to get married, not following the society where you keep getting asked, when are you having children? When are you having children? When are you getting married? Because if you feel there's pressure, you're being forced to do something, it's not really your decision. So I think it's best to have children when you want them and communicate with each other, because children they change everything. They're like, for me, my children are my world. But at the same time, when I'm disciplining them, I have to make sure, because they can turn me against their dad, or they can turn their dad against me, or they'll come and ask something from me. If I say no, they'll go to their dad and try to manipulate him. And he always say, "What did mom say?" When they ask something, he knows they never go to him first. They always ask me, and I'm the one that they ask him and say, the girls want to do this. Are you okay with it? But when they go to him first, he goes, just because you girls are asking me, that means mommy said no, right? So he knows that they're playing us up. We've just been played. Yeah. So it's just communication, working as a team and making sure that you enjoy your joy, because children are everything. And also at the same time, don't neglect your life as well, because when they're gone, we don't raise these kids to control them. We raise them to go and do their own thing. When they're gone, that's where you find people, they're lost, like you have nothing to do. They're like, oh. And then the bond, that's when you find like people, they're like, I'm divorcing. I'm like, but you've done the hard work with the kids, and now the kids are gone. Yeah, divorcing. Why? Some people, they might have had an agreement to divorce it after the kids are gone, but some people, it comes as a shock because you find that they've drifted away from each other. So make sure you stay together. When you have children, go on dates.
Mhm.
Over to you, Carol Ann.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you went through a divorce,
Communication
Carol
is really
Ann.
important.
Carol Ann, you went through a divorce. Did
Yeah.
you divorce after the kids
Yeah.
had gone out, or?
When was it uni? She was in her last year of uni. So she was 20, going up 21. And the other one was she was 2 years younger, so she was 18 at the time. And she was at college. Well, she'd just been to college. She was at college. So but we weren't right together. Things weren't right. We didn't really know how to communicate or how to deal with distresses or things that were going on. We'd have great moments and we'd have really awful moments and times of not talking or times of shouting and, you know, doors would bang. And it's like, when I think back, it's like, oh God, did we really behave like that, you know? But it was frustration because I couldn't communicate. We just somehow couldn't get through to each other or make it work. But we were always living in the future. But I remember when I first had the children, they were my world. And even as they were growing up, and a lot revolved around them and looking after them. And I felt that, as can happen, my husband was sort of felt left out or ignored. And but also he would also question me in front of the children. If I'd made a decision on something, he would question me and ask, well, why did I say that? And I just went, I did because I did. And it was like I flustered. And so that didn't help either. And what you were saying about presenting a united front, because children will go to one and then to the other. And if they can get away with it, they'll put a wedge between you. If they think they can get away with, one partner says yes, the other says no, or one says no, the other will say yes. It's like, and they know how to play that. So yeah, you know what you were saying, Nomsa, about presenting that united front is really important. But discussing, if you don't agree with something, it's about discussing it together and communicating in a way that doesn't end up in an argument. So those are skills that you really need to develop if you don't have them. Because again, children feel that, they know how to manipulate the situation. So if they feel they can get what they want because they can make you argue, then they will. So again, what Claudia was saying, communication is really important. But what you were saying, Nomsa, about raising them to do their own thing. And that's how I raised my two girls. And I remember when my eldest was, she must have been 17, 18, and we allowed her out one Friday evening to go out with her friends to a dance. And my husband was saying, oh, he was, really concerned about her. And I said, but she, she'll have to herself. It's not her, misbehaving or doing something wrong. It's who she might meet. And I said, you cannot stop her from going out because of who she might meet. We have to trust that we've instilled sensibility in her to be able to meet people, walk away if the situation requires it, and make her own discernment on that. We can't protect her from who she might meet, and that's what I think you have to realize. So it's about communicating and working together. How have you found that, Claudia? Is there times where you've had to really talk and maybe you've had difference of opinion?
Yes, this happens as well. This happens as well, especially as well when I feel like I want to prove something and he is not agreeing to this, but then as well, I've learned to say what it is I need in this very moment. So if I can turn this around as well, just so at the other party, the partner might then as well understand you a bit better if you speak about your needs in this very moment as well, when something is going on too. Yeah. So like, well, because they don't know as well how we feel about something, yeah, just like, especially as well, just they don't know, and they are not psychic as well, born psychic. So it is just like to explain to them as well how we feel and what is something we need in this particular situation as well, from them and the kids together and so on. So this is another thing to add to the communication skills, the needs and how we feel about it. So this helps me now better, that my partner understands me now, instead of you. But when we speak like from the vulnerable part in me, and then I've found as well that he actually stops, listens, and takes time and tries to go as well into me and how I perceive the situation and everything. So yeah. Nomsa?
Yeah, it's I like it when Carol Ann explains that she didn't get on with her husband. He was always trying to.
Can't hear you again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I like it when Carol Ann says she couldn't get along with her husband. There was always something going on, the fight and stuff. I think it happens a lot to like, I see it with the people that I know, that sometimes you see the fight, the big ones, and then the next thing they are like together again. And I'm like, how are they able to live like this, these people? Me, I can't do that. I honestly, I can cope with the small arguments, but the big arguments where like the way I see when somebody's like wanting to cut somebody's throat, and then I'm like, oh my goodness. And then tomorrow they are back together again, and I'm like, this is so painful. But at the same time, I'm learning that, when you're on the other side, you learn that this is what it looks like if I was to do this. And, children are meant to bring joy to us. They're meant to be a blessing. They're meant to, we're meant to prepare a future for them. And for me, my relationship is not perfect, but I always refuse to actually argue about my children in front of them, because at the end of the day, they're going to grow up and then they're going to go. And my children, you can't argue anyway. They'll ask you questions like, why are you arguing? They'll ask you questions. Honestly, if it's me that is arguing, I can argue, but after that, I'll go to court for my children. They'll be like, Mommy, why are you doing this? So they will have lots of questions. So I try not to argue. Uh, it's not easy, but sometimes it's the character that you have to practice, and also communications and sharing tasks as well. My spouse will always try to get out of it. Sharing like when my children are filming Carol Ann, like we were dropping them, like getting up like in the morning, like at 5, and then picking up at 9:30 p.m. Of course, we'll go and drop them in the morning, and then at nighttime, and my spouse finishes work at 6. So I'll be like, that's your turn to go and pick up now. And then you would try by any means to get out of it. I'm like, no, you can't. Because you need to see how it feels to get these kids where they are, not just paying. Because paying, getting your wallet is easy, but it's when now the children have to do the work, like activities. I don't know how you find it. Pero and your generation was better. Was there any many? Your generation was better. I think we didn't have the leverage things like these children have. where they will refuse to completely do anything. My children, if they have a car, they'll prefer somebody to take them. Or even if you have somebody who can take them, one of us has to be there. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I grew up, my parents had a car, but my dad worked long hours. We lived in Swindon, so he had to commute up to London. So it was a long day for him. It
Yeah.
was over an hour train ride then each way. And so yeah, I used to have to get the bus and take myself wherever if I wanted to go somewhere. So I never would rely on them. Wasn't something I was brought up to do. Even the times I thought, oh, it would be nice, and even going to school, I had to walk. We never got a lift to school. There was a bus I could get to the school when it was 15 plus. When I was 15 and above. But the other schools I went to, I had to walk. They were just around the corner. They weren't that far, but they were far enough. But I had to walk, and then to the other one that was about a mile away. When I was 15, we moved to that school. So walking was always, I get myself there, sort myself out. And pretty much my own children I brought up, and they got quite independent and would take themselves, but I had a car, so I could take them. And I used to run them around quite a bit to various, it was either ballet or there was drums or there was all sorts of things that they used to do. So I used to take them when they were younger. I think it's what you did. I used to, because when I was younger and I used to go to ballet, my mum did used to come with me on the bus, but then eventually I had to take myself. It was like, no, you can take yourself. So it was like, oh, okay. But once I'd done it, it's like, all right, got over that first hurdle, because I remember the first time I had to do it myself and I didn't actually do it. But my mum was really annoyed with me because she'd forgotten something. So she rushed back home and said, go and catch the bus, otherwise you'll be late. And I dawdled and I missed the bus. And she knew what I'd done. She said, oh, I missed the bus, Mum. And she said, but you dawdled, didn't you? She was so angry with me. But I was really frightened. I was nervous about going on my own. But after that, no. So I think it's really important to allow children to get out on their own and not be reliant on you running them around all the time, because there is public transport. Okay, I know it costs. So we're up in London, we're really lucky. It doesn't cost that much for children, and buses are free. So it's just the underground that costs a bit. So giving them independence, I think, is important, but also helping them out, encouraging them. My husband never had any encouragement at all. So he didn't know what it was like, whereas I always had encouragement from my parents. They wanted us to do things because they didn't have the opportunity, because they had the war. It interfered with their schooling, it interfered with it, a whole host of things. So yeah, what do you think, Claudia, about running them around or creating independence?
No, yes, independence is very important, especially as well. They are learning already life skills from a very young age, and they are looking at us as well as like role models, and they're picking everything up as well we do or say and so on. So it's very important as well for us to have a self-awareness in regards to what we want them to learn or to do or to be as well, and our words as well, like the way we talk in front of them, or the way we talk to our partner in front of them, or just like, because they just observe us if we see it or if we don't see it. And especially as well, if the kids are very young, 0 up to 8 years, they are just still like getting everything from the parents or the caregivers as well. So they are in this state where they're forming their reality and the world and the beliefs as well. So it's just like very crucial time for us to understand and to be like very observative and aware as well in regards to what we want them to teach as in skills. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it,
yeah,
Iris.
it's very important to guide the children, because at the end of the day, we care for them and prepare them for the future. Like my 17-year-old, yeah, I've done my part. Now she knows that her job now is to find the opportunities herself. I've trained her how life is. Or sometimes she'll tell me about my friends, they do this, they do that, they don't do what I do. I'm like, that's why they're called your friends, and that's why you are called you. So you are two different people. So you got to get on with things, get on with life. Or sometimes you'll be like, Mommy, I don't have the time. I'm like, if you can go and spend time with your friends, so much time, that means you have the time. So I have to explain that those who hang out chatting and not doing nothing, not reading books, they stay behind. Those who are called names, they go further in life. I remember when we went to Andy Harrington's event, because people will buy his program, and he brought this guy who became a millionaire in commercial uh, industry. And he said this guy, when everyone else is going out, because when they have finished their modules, they go out and celebrate and drinking. He was like, this guy stays here in the night, reading, or in the night until maybe 2 a.m. while everybody else is partying. And that's why he is where he is. He was further, like he was successful. So I always explain to my daughter that life is not what we expect. We have to create it ourselves. And we might have friends, they have their own dreams. But sometimes she'll be like, Mommy, you're very difficult. And she'll tell her sister that she forces us to do things. Welcome to Mommy's world. And I'm like, but I'm not forcing you to do nothing. Honestly, I'm not forcing them to do nothing. Me, I just create opportunities. I sign up, Kero Ann. I sign people up. If I know you're qualified for something, I go online. If honestly, if I find the things coming on my email, if I know a friend, their name, their date of birth, I sign you up. And then I tell you that there's an opportunity that I signed you up for. And if they contact you, if you want it, you take it. If you don't, you don't. Because of that opportunity, if I try to ring them, or even for my children, if an opportunity comes in, or is it like acting, I just say put them through, and then I let them know that, girls, you're doing this, and they're like, why don't you just ask first? I'm like, there's no time to ask. You're not here. You're at school. I can't send you a message. They complain. By the end, they enjoy it. So it's very, very important. And also as a parent to actually be positive. Like there are some parents, I don't know about you, Claudia and Carol Anne, there are some parents, I hear them saying, my children cannot do this. Like, how do you know? What do you think about this, Carol Anne? There's parents that talk their children out of their destinies. Like,
yeah. It
Yeah.
It's very much so. It's a shame because they're projecting their fears onto their children. They're not letting them fly. And actually, we're only caregivers. You know, the universe, God has entrusted us with these souls to help them to just go out into the world. And we have to then let them go because they're not going to be with us forever. Well, they are with us, but they're not with us, if you know what I mean. They fly the nest eventually. And but if you've nurtured them, they can then fly. They can then expand their wings and they can take steps that, what's what am I looking for? They're willing to take a risk. They're willing to give it a go. Whereas if you say, oh, no, 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 you instill in fear of actually giving it a go, of taking that first step towards doing something. And it was something, my parents were always encouraging us to try something new. And that's something I'm really grateful for. So that's why I was always with my own children. If you wanted to give something a go, I would always encourage them to give it a go, because they don't need to necessarily have carried on with it, but to have actually given it a taster, had a go, and be able to decide for themselves, well, yes or no, this is for me or not, and continue it if they wish to, because it just gives them different flavors of what life is about. But certainly holding them back, I think you need to look at what is the reason you're holding them back. Is there something that is in your own past? Is that how you were parented? Were there fears that were put onto you, you're now putting onto your own children? Because there are joys, there are highs and lows within having children. And one of the highs is when you can celebrate their achievements. They've gone out and they've achieved something. Maybe they're, even as babies, it's their first steps. It's their first words. Do you actually, celebrate that? Or do you just let it go by and go, oh, it's not worth celebrating? But that's one of the joys of children. It's celebrating every little milestone. And when they do step out and try something for themselves, yes, it's like, even though you hold your breath and you go, okay, but hold your breath and then remember to breathe and surround them in love and trust that you've given them enough wherewithal, because you've talked with them, you've shared different ways of being out in the world, with them, so that they can actually be they're able to make those decisions themselves. They're able to stand on their own 2 feet and hold their ground, because you haven't necessarily batted them down. Sometimes when you bat them down and you stop them speaking to you, you say, why are you talking to me like that? Don't you talk to me like that? And you really bash them down. You're not helping them. So if you find yourself doing that, step back. What is it that is causing you to say that to them? Because maybe reframe it. You may be glad of them being able to stand up for themselves when someone else out there is trying to beat them down. So have they got that spark in them? So just reframe it and then have that conversation. Well, that doesn't quite work here. Let's see what's going on here and talk to them about it, rather than trying to squash them down. But some of the lows, I'll just go into some of the lows, and maybe Claudia can share something else as well here. But one of the lows that we can go into is that you do get less personal time. I don't know about you, but my children used to follow me to the toilet. It's like, I can't even go to the toilet. Leave me alone. I just want a few minutes. And I think that's a cry with a lot of parents. And some of your activities that you used to do, your hobbies and that, they get just pushed aside for a little while. But it feels like they're pushed aside forever. Just reframe it, because it's not forever. Because eventually your children are up and out and doing their own thing. And then it's like, well, what have you got? Have you ditched your interests and hobbies to the point where you've completely forgotten that those were your interests and hobbies? And therefore you feel like, well, what am I doing? Rather than allowing yourself to just remind them there, give the focus to your children, but bring in your hobbies. Because there is a time when all focus is on them, and it's like you lose your own personal time. So what about you, Claudia? How does any of that speak to you?
Yeah, you did mention as well as some of the other laws as well, other laws. Yeah. It is as well, you said it earlier, feeling left out and ignored as well. I picked it up a few conversations ago from you, Caroline, and it's like I wrote down actually as well, like, yeah, how do we deal actually as well with jealousy as well when the kids are there and we and they take all the attention as well. So one of the partners as well might feel jealous, left out, feeling ignored as well. In regards to me being the stepmother as well, to begin with as well, I felt jealous when I saw my partner cuddling with his kids and so on. They came over and they were watching TV and they were cuddling, and I was like sitting next to them. It's like here's all these things I had to work as well in regards to me, because obviously it's my thing, it's my issue, nothing to do with them, because they were just doing the right thing, the quality time, especially as well as they don't see each other so often. So yes. So when jealousy comes up in you as well, yeah, being the partner or jealousy for the kids as well, I invite you as well, like look within as well. So where does it come from? In regards to me, it was that I didn't have this one-to-one quality time with my parents when I was younger. I did not know this cuddling and hugging and saying each other, I love you. It was not happening back then in my generation, So I was just like, trying to find the little part in me, my inner child, who felt a bit left out and ignored. So, and then I could reconnect to her and give her as well the attention now, which she didn't get then, if it makes sense, just like I had to work on it so that I feel as well now more fulfilled. And then this is just like so natural in me now that it doesn't bother me any longer. What about you, Nomsa? How does your partner deal as well with your kids? Sometimes a bit jealous or so on?
Oh no, I can tell you this house, no one is jealous of
Okay.
anybody because we talk. My children, if they want quality time, they demand it. If my spouse wants quality time, he demands it. But Carol Anna was talking about the low time, like sometimes you don't get to have time for yourself. My children are different. My children, they demand their me time. They're like, they go to their bedroom, is their dad. The other day he was complaining. He's like, why is she always in her room? I was like, welcome to the club. She's doing what she wants. And he's like, can she come into the living room? I was like, this younger one should be doing the same. And she started doing the same thing. She would go to her bedroom like for 2 hours and sit there. And sometimes she watch something or just play. And I'll be like, Kayla, do you want to come to mommy in the living room? So like, no, thank you. It's like you're on your own, is your house, you're on your own. And then she's like, no, thank you. I just want to be me time. But when they want cuddle, they want cuddle. So it's simple. It's simple in this house. We make life very, very simple. If everybody else is busy or they're doing something, if I want us to sit down to watch something, you have to speak. We've taught each other to speak, communicate your want. And I think we all like children anyway in this house. We just play. We don't take life too serious. That's the only thing that we don't do in this house, because you go to some other houses, it's very intense and it's too serious. So here we play. um, we can just play. Sometimes we play in the games, or sometimes we do something. We play with guns, or if we're not playing with guns, water, we're sitting down and everybody's doing their own thing. But there's time where my spouse will go off and do his own thing, and my children will go off and do their own thing. I'll go off and do my own thing. We all disappear in the house, and then, guys, I'm gonna have to go because I have another meeting. So can I put one of you as a host?
Okay.
Is that okay? Yeah, so we do that. I'm gonna put Carol on as a host.
Okay.
How do I leave?
Okay. So all I need to do at the end is I just
Okay,
stop, yeah?
yeah.
Okay.
And I'm no longer a host, right? A host, right?
Yeah, that's okay.
You are the host.
Okay.
Let me check who am
I'm the host. Yeah.
I? Okay, so if I leave,
Okay.
then in
Alrighty. So
affected. Okay.
she's gone.
Yep, she is.
As it happens. Hello.
Hello.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting things. You've got your highs, you've got your lows, and
Mm.
but it does hinge on communication and understanding that the whole dynamics does change when you have children. And that there is a joy in having children, and it's being able to find that joy. And when even in the low times when you feel stressed, because especially when you have a baby, you get really tired because of the late, the nights get disrupted and you just feel like it's going on forever. But actually it's not. It's quite a short space of time in relation to everything else, but it feels like it's never going to end. Constantly having to get up at night and you're just tired, which then impacts how much energy you have and how much attention you can give your partner. And of course, then they're demanding your attention and you're really going, oh, I can't. It's being able to sit down and just give yourself some quality time together, even if it's only a few minutes. Make sure you bring some time in, even if it's regularly in a daily or weekly, just come together and talk about what's been going on. How is it for you? And what's working and what's not working. And if you're tired, get to what is it that you really want? What would you like your partner to do for you that would support you, and actually communicate that? And if you don't know, then give yourself some time to think about what is it that you're saying. There'll be something in your head. Oh, I wish you'd do that. Or I wish that was happening. Hear that request, because I didn't. I wasn't fully aware of what it was I really wanted him to do. And so I just carried on. And I really feel I made him wrong. I know I made him wrong. I didn't fully appreciate him for who he was and what he brought. And it took time. And this is something that does take time for you to actually move into that role of identifying yourself as a mother, as a wife, and who am I in that role? And you spoke earlier, didn't you, Claudia, at the beginning about roles? And it's something we do grow into, because it's not something that you know immediately. There are some books that can help you and share different perspectives. But at the end of the day, it's down to you, because your child will communicate with you in the way they communicate. And it's up to you to understand their communication and then be able to communicate back also with your partner. And for you to be able to communicate what you want and what's not working for you. And if you can't, then deal with that. That really is an important skill to develop, because that was one of the key things that I realized. I used to moan to my friends. There was a couple of friends I had. We were always on the phone moaning and moaning. Did it make me feel better in that moment? But afterwards, no, because had the problem been solved? No. And I realized I actually needed to talk to my husband about it. And that's what I couldn't do. And so really that was something I needed to have addressed then and worked on it. But hindsight's a great thing. But as long as you learn later, you learn from it and move on.
Yes.
So,
Yes. And we always learn as well, and we get the aha moments and so on, hopefully as well, And the thing is as well, don't be afraid as well to if you like really, just don't know, just go out there, and there are people as well who are qualified and specified as well in this topics as well around children and so on. Just like, yeah, reach out, because again, we are not born with a manual, how to be the parent, the best parent. And we definitely as well don't learn this in school either. It's not one of the subjects. So just like, please don't be, shy and so on. Just reach out as well. There's so much stuff out there as well, like groups and, like people you can just go to, speak to, and learn as well and share your experience. And please don't forget as well your needs too. It came up a few times today as well. Just always make sure some time for self-care is actually a necessity in all these things we have to accomplish at home as well. Like, please don't forget this. Look after yourself as well without feeling guilty. That's the thing I've found as well with mothers, they feel guilty if they just, just like treat themselves to something, an evening out with the girlfriends, instead of being at home, just like the guilt. Please don't do this to yourself as well, because in the end as well, just think and tune into when you go out and you do something for yourself, you fulfill your own cup. How are you coming back to the family full and nourished as well, and actually as well having something to share and the excitement and so on with them, rather than you're just running low, and you say no to all the opportunities as well. You have been invited just because you feel guilt. So actually guilt is not really serving us. Example.
No, it's actually very low vibration, isn't it?
Yes, as well.
When you're in guilt.
Yes, as well.
Yes, when we talk vibrationally, it's very low.
Yeah.
So yeah, certainly deal with it and reach out and ask for help. And I think that's something really important. Don't be frightened to reach out for help.
Yeah.
Don't think you have to do it all on your own. Don't think you have to figure it out all on your own, because you don't. Took me a long time to realize that one.
True. And that's a good accomplishment, a good learning as well, Carol. And as well, there is not such thing as a perfect parent. It doesn't exist. Right,
Yeah.
Caroline? Yeah. So just like get rid as well of this idea, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. It's about being with your children. It's about learning from them and helping them to learn for themselves as well. And it's not all about school. The lessons are not just the lessons at school. It's about you helping them, because you are also their teacher, their mentor. It's not just for school. You are with them. They're with you more than they are at school. So, and I used to realize when I was a teacher, there were certain things that I'd managed to get my class to do. They would be willing, they'd work, they'd settle, and then they'd go they were at home for the holidays, and especially the 6-week holiday, and they'd come back and it's as if it had all been undone, because they're back in that home environment that has a huge impact on them. So don't underestimate the impact that you have on your child, and how they come across in the world, how they are in the world, and how they can learn for themselves. So you have an important part to play in their upbringing. There is no accident that they've chosen you as their parent. It's because you're giving them the lessons that they have come into this world for. So recognize yourself. You've got lessons to learn. They've got lessons to learn. So it's about empowering them to learn those lessons. What do you think, Claudia?
Yes, and something else you got to teaching them, as you did say, it's not just about school, it's actually life is the school as well to the children. And I wish I would have learned earlier from my parents in regards to what it feels like to be self-confident and to have a good self-esteem, to love myself, like all these things, yeah, which again are not being taught in school, but they are so helpful for us today. But it took me 20, 30, 40 years later on to understand a few things. So if you can, give this precious gift to your kids at a very early age, it was just like a fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
So, is there any final words that you'd like to leave our listeners with around this topic?
Again, yes, just be gentle with yourself as well, because it is different characteristic and personalities within family dynamics, and sometimes it is easier and then again it's a bit more challenging. Just like, please don't beat yourself up, be gentle with yourself, because this is the way how to be with it. And then it will be easier. When something is a bit challenging, the solution is just around the corner, and then things won't always stay like this. So just like understand this, please too, is a flow. Life is a flow. Okay, yeah. But like, please just don't beat yourself up.
Yeah, absolutely. Be kind, be gentle with yourself. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Claudia. And what I'd like to, there's a couple of quotes that I found this morning that I think would be really useful to hear. One is by Taylor Hanson. Having a baby is a life changer. It gives you a whole other perspective on why you wake up every day. So it does, doesn't it? It changes your life. There's a change. There's a different perspective on why you want to get up. And then there's another quote I've got here, which is, if the family were a boat, it would be a canoe that makes no progress unless everyone paddles. So pull together.
I like that.
And you'll go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely, you got it.
Good one. Yeah. Beautiful.
So thank you for listening, and please subscribe to our channel, YouTube, and Cosy Talk Shows on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and we're here Monday to Friday, 1 p.m. We look forward to seeing you again, and please do enjoy and make comments. If there's any topics you'd like us to talk about, pop them in the chat in the comments one day, and just send us a message. We'd like to hear what our views are on a particular topic, or if there's something you're struggling with, drop us a line. And you can reach us at Ngozi Talk Shows if you'd like to get some support from any one of us here. We'd be delighted to hear from you. So until then, take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.